Hi everybody, I'm here with John Cohn, IBM fellow, very famous guy within and outside IBM. And John, where are we sitting here?
Well, Romeo, we are sitting in my favorite place in the Munich lab. This is our fab lab where we build all sorts of demos and experiment with IoT. It's definitely my happiest place. It's where we're working with our hands and working with our minds, hardware, software. And that's why I am so glad that you are here.
Why?
Because you are what's bringing AI to IoT the most for me. You're making it so much more accessible. You know, as we put the Watson in Watson IoT, your code and the stuff in your course have made it a lot more accessible. It's made it much easier for us to do a quick experiment, to take data from this building, for example, and be able to start doing machine learning.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Welcome. That's my duty, no? So I've realized that it's very hard to get here, because if you are with John Cohn on the floor, then everybody's just trying to get a chat with you. So how are you feeling such as a prominent person walking around here in IBM?
It's great, and that's why I have this one room where no one else can get in. So it's the place where I can hide. No, I love working here. I've been coming here for 2 years. I live here about half time, and there's so many cool people coming through this building. We have hardware people, software people, Watson people, security people, GBS people, and we have tons and tons of clients. And so it's so much fun. You never know what you're going to be thinking about on any given day. And that's so I like it. I like meeting people. I don't get a lot of chance to sleep or eat or any of that other stuff, but it's a small trade-off.
Okay. Regarding eating, I've heard you are a vegetarian.
That's true. That's true.
So
yes.
For a long time.
Yes, that's what keeps me so young.
Ah, yeah, I noticed that. So what is your role within IBM Watson IoT?
So I am the chief scientist for the Watson IoT Center here, and basically my job is working with clients, trying to understand their needs and help connect them to the technology in Watson IoT and in our sister organizations like Watson and Services and Security and Blockchain. Second is to help bring the building to life. We're getting thousands of data points, every minute from various places in the building about temperature, lighting, humidity, water, air quality, movement, and we're able to control the building. They turn on the lights, open the windows, etc. And so my team is in charge of that, and that's the second thing. And third is to be kind of the Yoda. I'm supposed to be Yoda. I'm supposed to be the evangelist, trying to help bring all of these different groups together. So it's the technical people from Watson IoT, from GBS, from research, from security, etc. And even some of our partners who are here. So it's 3 parts. It's about 3 jobs, and that's why I don't get to eat or sleep. But it's really fun. It's really fun.
Okay. What do you think are the 3 most important topics in IoT?
3 most important topics in IoT. Well, that's a really interesting thing. Well, I would say that the most, I'll give you a kind of a grown-up answer. Okay. I mean, I think that the way that artificial intelligence can change IoT is way beyond just the hype of, hey, AI is big, IoT is big. The fact that data from things, IoT is basically, connecting things to the world. By adding AI, you're adding things into artificial intelligence, and the manner of things that you can learn about the operation of something, a car, a boat, an airplane, a person, even through their wearables, to determine normal, not normal. When something is starting to fail, you can do. Machine learning is just an amazingly applicable technology, and it can be on what something looks like. We do a lot of machine vision. It can be on what something sounds like, acoustic analysis, vibration analysis, even chemical, even smell. You can start to, if you think about it, what IoT and AI, it's like giving AI like Watson, arms, legs, it's bringing AI to the physical world. So that'd be my first one. I think I'm a big believer in IoT and blockchain. Now, blockchain is an incredibly hyped technology.
I see, yeah.
But it's very, very interesting when you start to think about how devices, you think of blockchain as how people exchange value. And whether it's money like Bitcoin or whether it's ownership like a deed. But when you start to think about physical objects, how they interact with each other, how they negotiate for permissions to do stuff, how they pay for services, how they change ownership in, say, a trade relationship, like as a piece of freight moves through a trade lane. The ability for a bunch of different partners who don't all live under one organization to transact business without having an implicit trust relationship, I think it's transformational. It's very complicated. It's complicated technology, and I do not believe it's the best technology for everything.
Okay.
I don't think every IoT needs blockchain,
yeah.
But the intersection of those for things like trade and provenance, and like is this device real, and chain of custody, things like that, it's pretty transformational.
Okay.
So that would be my number 2.
Okay.
And I think my number 3, though it's kind of on the not as fun, but it depends on which side of it, is security and privacy. I believe that the things in the world can tell us a lot about ourselves, but I think first of all, from a privacy standpoint, I think we have to be very, very careful how we design things, whether it's a commercial tool, commercial thing that you might have like your car or your cognitive assistant, or even in industrial stuff, that you want to make sure that the data that is gathered is protected, and that the device, which is typically very vulnerable, it's out, it's not in a raised floor, somebody can come with a wire cutter, grab it, that it doesn't emit data, it doesn't allow data to be captured that you don't want captured.
I see.
So I think privacy is a real important thing. Obviously, security is also a big issue, especially when something involves somebody's wealth or health. If you go to conferences like DEF CON to see somebody hacking a car to be able to take over control of the brakes or steering, we have to be careful of that.
I
think I'm more worried about the privacy stuff. So those are 3 things that I think are pretty interesting.
Okay. So those are horizontal things.
Yeah.
Can you imagine some vertical things? So if I tell you, let's say, Industry 4.0 transformation, smarter healthcare, smarter agriculture, smarter homes, what are the most?
You're asking me to choose among my children? I like them all.
Okay.
It's interesting. There was recently a Financial Times crowdsource where the Financial Times, which is the largest financial paper in UK, asked people what the 50 most influential technologies of any sort, not just of IoT, and we all crowdsourced, and I ran a little team inside IBM. And one of the things that we came up with was precision agriculture. I mean, it's not a new idea, but if you think about the impact on the world, the ability to instrument the world so that you know that every plant you're using just enough water, just enough fertilizer, just enough pesticide to put on a particular plant to meet its needs, and you're able to monitor the growth, you can be so much more ecologically efficient, and in terms of chemicals, in terms of waste of water, etc. We've had examples like with Gallo Winery of being able to increase the yield while decreasing the amount of water. I think that has a potential impact in the world unlike anything. I think healthcare. My brother is a big medical device innovation guy and a surgeon, and the ability to get real live telemetry on organs, even artificial organs, it's fundamentally going to change the world. So I think those things are, or gosh, I can't choose a favorite. I'm looking at a large, road down below. I mean, autonomous driving, which is really, Germany is a great place to be working on things like that because of all the Industry 4.0 and the OEMs that build cars. But the ability for trucking, for example, which is going to be probably the first use of autonomous driving, the increase in safety and the decrease in cost and increase in speed is just going to have great economic value. So there's just so many uses.
Okay, but I'm glad to hear that all those use cases are really data centric.
They're very data centric, and a lot of them, and going back to what your Coursera course is, a lot of them have an aspect of artificial intelligence. The more things that you can learn the more, the safer you can make them, the more efficient you can make them, even the more fun you can make them, you know?
Okay. Is there anything else you want to?
No, I just want to say thank you very much for putting, you know, it's funny because things like artificial intelligence have been in the, you know, in conversation for a long time. Marvin Minsky, the father of AI and neural nets, his son was my roommate at MIT in 1977. And when I think about listening to him talk about neural nets and doing these little toy problems, then flash forward, I had my first 30 years in IBM were making chips, and including making the chips for game processors, which were the first GPUs. And now, and I think the third phase, now that I'm a grown-up, to be able to see those ideas of AI that have been kind of percolating, you know, enhanced by our ability to do vector calculations much better because of gaming, and now making AI possible, not just in the host, but on the edge. I'm just so grateful to be living this life, you know, 4 decades of my career, being able to see this stuff come full circle. And thank you, and I've got to just say, thank you for making it accessible. It's kind of weird, you know, I grew up on punch cards, man, and vacuum tubes, and thanks to your course, I've been able to use Keras and TensorFlow and Jupyter, and you know, that's a long way from punch cards.
Perfect. High five.
High five.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.